Warcraft 3, The Reign of Chaos. What a great game in the memory of so many people, including me. And I always come back to this game once in a while, playing through its campaign again and asking myself, how did such a great game happen? And I asked my friends and asked them, do you think Warcraft 3 is great? And they said yeah. I asked, why is it great? They came up with exactly the same answer, all of them. The great custom maps that we spent so many countless hours in. And secondary, the storyline that was so memorable. And I asked them, what makes the storyline so memorable? And they answered, genius cutscenes and lovable characters that we feel for, that we learn from, that we bond with, and a world that we just want to keep exploring, which we much later did in the world of Warcraft. This game laid the foundation for all of that, as it came out 2002, being the first 3D game for Blizzard Entertainment. And I want to take you on another journey through it, but this time I'm gonna take an analytic look on what we may not notice on first glance, but our brain sure does. So this is how it's gonna go. I'm gonna play you the cinematic or the in-game cutscene that we're currently at, and then I'm gonna go back and look at it step by step, breaking it down into all the oh so important pieces and bits. So for a first taste of what's about to come, we're gonna look at the opening cinematic, named The Prophecy.
We never paid any heed to the ancient prophecies. Like fools, we clung to the old hatreds. And fought as we had for generations. Until the day the sky rained fire, and the new enemy came among us. We stand now upon the brink of destruction, for the reign of chaos has come at last.
Well, I can tell you I sure love the music already. Let's discuss opening cinematics in general. What are they actually for? An opening cinematic is there to set the mood for the rest of the game. In this case, it starts with a flag with skulls on the side of it, and it ends with two severed hands twitching in a puddle of blood. This sets a dark and gloomy mood for the rest of the Warcraft game. And it is true that even though its art style is very cartoony, very colorful, that the core of the story remains pretty dark, grim and brutal at times. And as the great artist Bob Ross once said, you need dark in order to show light. And this remains completely true for a game that is about heroes who stop the prophesized end of all things. So let's look at the characters that we see, just plain and simple. We see two fighters in prolonged combat. They seem tired. The orc even shakes his head as if he wants to stop, or as if he wants to stop a thought, and then he makes another battle cry to give himself the courage to fight on. The human itself seems just as tired out. The battle, of course, is linking back the Warcraft 3 story into the Warcraft 2 story and Warcraft 1 story. The battle between humans and orcs is still going on as a new foe interrupts their fighting. The cinematic implies that there is a new step about to be made. The old foes will have to face a new threat that is about to destroy them both. It tells us a new chapter is opening. I personally like that, because I never played Warcraft 1 or Warcraft 2, because they were before my time. When I played Warcraft 3, I had no idea of what came before. The story of Warcraft 3 is actually pretty solidly designed in a way that you don't need to know what happened before to be enthralled in this new story. As many games or movies tend to rely too much on what came before or what will come after. Warcraft 3 doesn't make this mistake. Setting the tone for the rest of the game and providing a link to previous games are the two main accomplishments of this cinematic. But there are a few tinier details that tickle our brain and make us more connected to what's going on. I'm just gonna go over them in a basic form. First of all, the flag itself is just a reflection in the water, as is revealed soon by the raindrops falling into it. This is a little mind trick, and there are more of those in the cinematic. The second would be the twitching hands, as we think they're still connected to something, and really creeped me out the first time I saw it. Also note that the combat feels extremely vicious. This is accomplished by two major things. The first one is the camera moving really freely around the combatants. The second one is that they are not using any elaborate choreography. They're just swinging at each other as if they're keeping heavy swords and heavy axes, which is, for us, pretty imaginable and realistic. I would be swinging like that if I had a giant axe in my hand. We all have a glimpse of what reality and physics are like, and if games bend it too far, then they lose connection with us. Also note the raindrop hanging from the grass. This can be a resemblance of life, as it is grasping at a straw, hoping not to fall. The Hell Beast is also revealed quite geniusly. You first only see a part of it, as its entry is already great enough. But then the camera moves into a first-person perspective, rising above both humans and orcs, until it finally releases one great roar. Also note that both the orc and the Hell Beast are releasing a roar. This might be another subtle connection in their origin and purpose of attacking Azeroth. And lastly, the hands laying in the water. The water that previously just showed us a reflection. It is a little tiny hint that reflections can become reality. And that's it for our first episode. I hope I gave you some new perspectives upon this very short first cinematic and gave you a taste of what's about to come when the story of Warcraft 3 truly gets rolling.